Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining me on my channel. My name is Asia Dang, and today we are going to be talking about something that it's crazy that it's already been a year. It's crazy. But the things that I have learned since becoming debt-free exactly 1 year ago. This November of 2019 is when I made the final call to pay off my final debt, my final student loan debt. And it's actually been crazy how quickly this year has gone by, considering how crazy 2020 has been. I realized that this month was my 1 year anniversary, and I was able to kind of reflect on my journey of becoming debt-free, then being debt-free. And I really wanted to do this video, if anything, just as if you are in this debt-free journey, kind of what you can look forward to or not look forward to when you become debt-free, because it is going to happen. You are going to achieve it. And yeah, no one really talks about this, just like how no one really talked about the things I did a video about the things I wish people told me about paying off debt. I haven't really seen anyone talk about what it feels like to be debt-free after becoming debt-free. So the first thing that I learned after being debt-free for a year is that sacrifice is empowering. After years of maybe working multiple jobs, staying with a job that you hate, missing girls' night, missing date nights, you come through the other side a fucking winner. Damn it, I try not to swear, but you are a winner when you come out of the other side of that debt tunnel. You know, on a meta level, it's like you did that. You accomplished something so exhausting and so difficult. It is, I mean, I keep on saying this, paying off debt is one of the most difficult things you will ever do. And it's so difficult that's why the majority of people don't do it, because it's too hard. But you did that. And if there ever comes to a point where you're facing a really difficult choice or decision or situation that you feel like you won't be able to get through, just remember that you were able to get through paying off debt, and you'll be able to get through whatever circumstance you are in. And it reminds me, I posted a video about how I gained weight during quarantine, and someone wrote a comment that really struck a chord with me, and she said that basically you worked so hard at paying off debt and doing all these other things with your life that it's okay if something like fitness and health kind of fall by the wayside. But now, remember, you have that ability to commit everything, commit your all to achieving a goal. So basically she said that she knows that I'll be able to achieve my fitness goal because I was able to achieve a goal as difficult as paying off debt and becoming debt-free. So that is definitely a comment that I will always remember, and to just be able to put it in perspective like that, I think is really amazing. The second thing I learned is that you still have to be intentional with your money. Just because you got out of debt doesn't mean that you'll stay out of debt. So it's really important to remember those positive, healthy financial habits that you built for yourself during your debt-free journey, and to continue to use those habits. For me, sometimes I forget to write my spending into my budget, because you guys know I prefer a paper to pen budget. And sometimes I forget, or sometimes I'm too lazy. And while that's not like a really big thing, it's not like I'm getting a lot of credit cards and going on a shopping spree at Target, that could in fact, me not budgeting, could in fact snowball into something else, like losing track of what's in my accounts or not focusing on my savings goals. Overall though, I have found that the financial habits that I've built during my debt-free process, they're still very much with me. And I would anticipate that if you spend and work your ass off and spend all your time for however long it takes you to get out of debt, that those habits that you build for yourself as well will stick with you, and we won't really have to worry about getting back into debt because we know how hard it is to get out of it. But There could also be some people where it's just like out of sight, out of mind. You accomplished it, you think it's over, but being financially savvy and healthy is never over. Something that you must always continue to work on. The next thing I learned is accountability is so, so, so important. Fortunately, I have you guys. I have my YouTube community and my Instagram community to hold me accountable. I know that if I were to go out today and lease a 2021 Mercedes-Benz, you would all be up on my ass. So just because you are debt-free doesn't mean that you don't need accountability partners. It might not be holding you accountable for paying off debt, but maybe it's reminding you of your savings goals and your why and all that stuff. It's just really important. I had an interview with CNBC the other day and they asked me what's like the one tip that you have to help people to get out of debt, and mine was to find your group. You have to find your group where you can be 100% open and honest about your financial situation, whatever it is, whatever you're working through. It's just really important to have a group of people where they know what you're going through and they can give you objective advice and they can keep you on track. Fortunately, there's a whole bunch of communities that you can be a part of, whether it's on Discord or YouTube or Facebook or Instagram. There's a lot of options out there for you to build and meet accountability partners, but that is definitely something that is important to keep in your life post paying off debt. And like I said, fortunately, I have all of you. Now, number 4 is actually very important. And the fourth thing that I learned after being out of debt for a year is that it just makes your relationships easier. I mean, the leading cause of divorce is money issues. It's just plain and simple. Money is stressful. Me tallying things up, what I spent, what he spent, is it equal, is it fair? That just really wasn't healthy for me. It wasn't healthy for our relationship. And now that I don't do that, because not to say money is not an issue, but because I've set myself up to be in a financially stable place, I don't have those freakouts anymore. No more arguments about who's paying for what, about frivolous spending, about any debt. That's just not an issue anymore. I know one of the most requested videos I get is to do a video with Brian about how we divide the bills and our expenses. And the truth is that we don't really divide it. I mean, we pay for half of the rent. We've always done that. Brian pays for some utilities. I pay for some things. And after that, it's just, we kind of just go with the flow. That's really what it is. And that's why I have a hard time communicating how Brian and I divide things up financially, because we really don't divide it up in a way that I can articulate, because sometimes I'll pay for groceries for the whole week and right now that's not a big deal, or maybe he'll pay for groceries for the whole week, or maybe he'll pay for dinner one night and I'll pay for groceries the next day, or it's just like, it's just not something we talk about anymore. And I don't mean to say that in a financially unhealthy way. Him understanding where I'm coming from now, and then me just not being so rigid about things, that has come from becoming more financially independent for myself. And I think that's the thing, is that now I just buy what I want. And I just buy what I want for myself and what I want for my family. And it doesn't really bother me if he pays me back or not, because I know that with or without the money that he may or may not pay me back with, I'm good. And that also came from having a fully funded emergency fund as well. Just that financial security, knowing that if, again, something does happen between Brian and I, that I am financially okay. I can take care of myself, I can take care of my dogs, and I can continue to live in this apartment by myself. So all of that has actually helped our relationship becomes so much more healthier and so much more stronger. On the flip side, the next thing I learned is that anxiety still exists. I mentioned this in one of my budget videos, I think earlier this year. And then I also talked about in my featured speech for the Financial Diet's Big Reset 2020. But I still get anxiety over money. It's kind of like this phantom debt. And I still haven't fully accepted that I don't have any debt, I don't have any payments, and I'm fully in control of my money. It's still a very weird place to be because for decades, for like 10 years, I was so financially unsecure. I was so financially a mess, and I thought that I would always be a mess financially, that now that I'm not, it's a weird feeling. And I think that happens is that for some of us, we've been in debt and we've been struggling with money for so much that the moment that we're out of it, it feels unreal. I'm sure I probably have to go back to therapy to deal with it, but it's still there and I don't really know how to get out of it. Maybe it's just gonna take a couple years in order for me to feel like, wow, I'm good. Like, girl, you're good. You can chill out, you can relax. Or maybe I just have to hit some kind of milestone, like having a house and paying for a house and having that be paid off. I don't know what the answer is. I don't know what the solution is to that, but anxiety about money still exists, at least for me. And I'm looking forward to the day where I don't wake up in anxiety over money anymore. And the last thing I learned is that it is easier to say no to things. Events, birthdays, weddings, a car, a designer handbag, some clothes. You can afford to get, I wouldn't say anything you want, but you know what I'm saying. You can afford to get things that you want, but you choose not to. It's easier to say no to spending something that you don't want to buy or going to an event that you don't want to go to. It just makes things so much easier. And I think it's because we now have this newfound respect for ourselves and respect for our hard-earned money, that we don't want to spend it on nothing that ain't that important. Like maybe while you were getting out of debt, you had to say no to your friend's wedding in Mexico because you just couldn't afford going to the wedding and also paying down your debt, which, hi, responsible. But maybe now that you're debt-free, you're still going to say no to your friend's wedding in Mexico because maybe you're trying to save up to buy a house, or maybe you're trying to save up to go to Paris and stay at the Ritz and eat all the way down the Champs-Elysees. Maybe that's what you want to spend your money on. And maybe you also realize that you guys weren't that close anyway, so why bother? Why spend the money? Anyways, those are the 6 things that I have learned after being debt-free for an entire year. If you're fortunate enough to be debt-free, please let us know in the comment section if there are any things that you've learned after being debt-free and living with debt freedom for a little bit. I would love to know your experiences as well. After I became debt-free, I went to New York. Someone asked me that yesterday. What was the first thing you did after becoming debt-free? Is I went to New York. I can't do that right now, so maybe I will go ahead and get myself a cupcake or something. Anyways, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next time. Bye.